Welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on Rural Radio Channel 147, Sirius XM. It is, of course, the Farmer Rapid Fire brought to you by Pioneer Seeds Canada. And with Pioneer Seeds Canada, I've got Mike Weir on the phone. He is based out of Manitoba. Mike, how did the season wrap up?
Well, it hasn't really wrapped up quite yet. Just with the open fall we've had, it's there's still a little bit of fall work to be done, a lot of drainage that's going on, and even guys getting to those lists of things they never really get to for cleaning up equipment, cleaning up churros, things like that. But as far as harvest goes, yeah, we're pretty much wrapped up. And man, it was a pretty impressive harvest from start to finish with overall a lot of positivity in the yields that were taken off.
Now, we certainly have heard, depending on where you are in Western Canada, where some of the yields were pretty disappointing, say on the canola side. But then we're also hearing some of those later, like soy, corn, or later acres actually did quite well. What has been the experience of Manitoba?
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag, but in general, I would say there was a lot of positivity around the spring cereals. So oats, there was some really nice yields in general, and spring wheat followed suit. Canola was probably the biggest variability that we saw. Some really nice yields in pockets, and then some that looked like they were going to be a nice yielding crop, and were a little bit disappointing once he got in there with the combine. So we did have some of the wet weather that we had early on, and even some wet weather towards the tail end of the season, or the canola season. We did see a little bit more disease pressure on the verticillium front and sclerotinia. A lot of questions coming my way this time of year on dealing with those particular pathogens. And but on the full season crops, so soybeans, corn, yeah, there was a lot of high fiving going on when growers got into those crops, especially the beans. They I wouldn't be surprised if this was the highest averaging soybean crop that we've seen in Manitoba to date. And corn very impressive too. I think it showed maybe a few more of the scars from the tough spring we had, with a little bit more variability in the field, but overall field averages were extremely good overall.
It does seem like the end of season mirrored more of, say, a Southern Ontario kind of feel than a Southern Manitoba. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And we did see
Yeah,
some of those challenges, like on soybeans, we saw a little bit more white mold, which I know
yeah.
my colleagues in the East always talk a lot more about white mold and soybeans. We definitely saw a bit more of that this year in Southern Manitoba. So yeah, I would completely agree with that comment.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are mid-November. To me, that means decisions being made on the sales side for seed, of course, picking those hybrids, hammering out what the lineup's going to look like. Is that pretty much all you're doing right now, is working through what that's going to look like for 2025?
No, well, yeah, it's a fun time of year. It's a lot of growers are towards they're ready to start talking about next year, and a lot of them are looking at future prices, and they're looking at input costs, and at the end of the day, when we get into the particular crops they're looking to grow, it's time to talk about which products are going to fit on their farm. So that's what this time of year is, just combing through the data and sharing any of that yield data that's more specific to their growing area. And then also an exciting time for me on my end when you start hearing about the products we've been testing within our programs, our breeding programs, and seeing how they're going to fit within our lineup when we go to advance them for 2025.
So, in thinking about that, that is super exciting. I know you can't tell us details, but is it looking good? Are we excited about what's coming down the pipeline?
Well, it's always exciting to see what's coming, and it's very important for us to look at what we currently have in our lineup and where the new products are going to fit. And if there's a specific reason to move away from some of our current products, it's because we have one that's better to replace them. So, um, I guess without sharing too many details, we have in canola, soybeans, and corn, we have some products that we're excited to move into our lineup as a solid replacement for some of our products that have been in our lineup for an extended time now. So, um,
Okay.
yield's always king, but I think the traits that we're bringing forward within these seed lineups are exciting too.
Hmm. Okay. Super exciting. It certainly always brings a little bit of optimism to the new year ahead. I know it hasn't been the greatest season for a lot in Western Canada, but still at least a decent one, and certainly that hybrid choice or that variety can make all the difference in what that yield potential is for the year ahead. So definitely an important time of year. Mike, I'm asking everyone this question, and I want to ask you too, because you mentioned these advancements and how exciting this time is. That brings me to my question of the week, which is getting ready for the holidays. And is your household one that decorates now for the holidays? Are you a December 1st or are you a Grinch and you wait till the very last moment?
Oh, I don't know if I'm a Grinch. I don't fall in that. I'm not in charge of the decorating in the house.
Mm,
I could put it that
okay.
way. But I wouldn't be surprised in the next week or so if we start seeing a little bit of Christmas decorations going up. So
Okay.
it just
Okay.
doesn't look like it outside yet. So
I
it's
know. I'm struggling too. When it's this warm, and there's no snow, it's hard. Okay. All right. So soon in the Weir household. There you go. Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Yeah. Take care. Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with more Real Ag Radio right after this.